We are in denial! No, it is not we are in denial. It is very sad. It is very sad. But before the sadness begins, let me tell you something that's different about Speaker's Corner today. I've come to speak many times at Speaker's Corner. Today you might not have noticed. It's different, it looks different. You know why? Just in case if the thunderstorm comes, you have a problem. Because the sheltered area at the back, where everybody will run when the thunderstorm comes, is now blocked by all these giant-sized pot of plants, 8-9 foot plants. But don't worry, if you go by the side, you can still go in. So that's what's different I noticed about Speaker's Corner today. The other thing very important to older people especially, like me, the CC is closed today, so the toilets are also closed. So you have less toilets to use, but there's another tiny one over there. It is very sad because sometimes the statistics appear to look better, but maybe only appear to look better. Let me give you an example. The job placement rate last year was 18%. What is job placement rate? Jobs placed divided by number of job seekers attended to. So last year, number of job seekers attended to was about 100,000. Jobs placed about 20,000. So you take the calculator, you calculate job placement rate 18%. In a recent statistics report, now this is the same report because the statistics report comes out every month. In the same report, when I calculate the job placement rate, it's gone up to 49%. How come from 18 can jump to 49%? The job seekers attended to has been changed to new registrants. New registrants 40,000. So 20,000 jobs placed divided by these new residents. By magic, stroke of a pen, the job placement rate has jumped 2.7 times from 18% to 49%. I don't know what's the difference between job seekers attended to and new registrants. But the statistic is the same. It's the same year. Very sad, right? Last year's employment change. Employment change is increase in the number of jobs. Last year's employment change, 70,000 foreign workers, 59,000 locals. So if you look at that, you calculate, what you get is 55% of the employment change went to foreign workers. 45% went to locals. But that's not all. Because the locals is not broken down into Singaporeans and PRs. You know, Singapore very funny. I think the computer program got problem, you know. When it comes to unemployment data, the computer program can compute and break down unemployment data. But when it comes to employment change data, the computer program cannot break down. Maybe the computer is breaking down. So, if we assume 15% of the locals is PRs, are PRs, then what happens? Your 45% locals become about 38% Singaporeans. You know, in 2001, the new intake of new citizens was 19,777. In 2011, the new intake of new PRs was 27,500. So you factor these new citizens and new PRs, maybe even less than the 38%. When you look at numbers like this, and you keep hearing in recent years the rhetoric, oh, we will curtail the influx of foreign workers, and then you look at the numbers like this, it's very sad, right? No, Gilbert mentioned about employment pass. You saw the media headlines, right? Employment pass drop. Then you read further, it says employment pass drop 1%. S pass increased 25%. You add the two together, all together increased 9%. Then you read some more, it says some of the employment pass actually converted to S pass.
Doesn't add up.
The next problem we have is Singaporeans are being told, it's like the same song over and over again, you know. In order for your wages to go up, you must have good economic growth. So let me give you some wage numbers. I estimate. Now, sometimes I say I estimate. You know why? Because I'm a layman, I'm just an ordinary citizen. My only resources are Google and sometimes go to library, you know. So as I estimate means I find what information I can and then I crunch the numbers, I count the figures. So if I make an honest mistake, please don't sue me. Also please don't arrest me. So I estimate in the last 12 years, 2000 to 2012, the real growth in the median wage, excluding employer CPF contribution, was only about 0.4% per annum. Wow! The basic wage, what's the difference between basic wage and gross wage? Gross wage includes things like overtime. Basic wage is like basic pay. So from 1999 to 2011, also 12 years, the basic wage, I estimate, out of the 8 categories of workers in Singapore, 4 of them, the real growth per annum, 0 or minus. There are 8 major categories of workers: managers, professionals, service and sales workers, cleaners and laborers, and what have you. So 4 out of 8, 0 or minus. The other 4, I estimate, per annum real wage growth, basic, 0.5 or less for 12 years. When you crunch numbers like this and you look at them, it's very sad, no? Now that I've given you some examples, or rather I started by talking about statistics that appear to look better. Now let me talk about statistics that nobody knows. HDB, 1 year deficit, 1 billion. Every flat we sell, we lose money. A few years ago, the deficit was 2 billion when we were presumably building even lesser flats. So we lose money on every flat we sell. We build more flats, we lose 1 billion. A few years ago, we build less flats, we lose 2 billion. This is not sad, this is very funny, okay? According to a reply in Parliament, in 1987, a 4-room flat in Pasir Ris, the selling price was about 56,000. The land cost was about 18,000. Fast forward to 2011 May, the last BTO for Pasir Ris, a 4-room flat is now 294,000 to 357,000. I give you the benefit of the doubt. I take the 294,000 to explain to you. If the land cost is 18,000 in 1987, if I assume the land cost increased, let's say by 5% per annum, come to 2011, the land cost about 60,000. You take the cheapest flat at Pasir Ris, 294,000 minus 60,000, you get 234,000. You mean the building cost, the construction cost is 234,000 for 4-room flat? Cannot be right. My friends tell me a good estimate would be around 140,000, 150,000. So you go figure. Let me use what I call the chicken rice analogy. You sell chicken rice, you sell $3. Then you tell people, hey, it's very cheap, very reasonable, because the 5-star restaurant sell $5, you know. I only sell $3. Actually, I lose money. Every plate I sell you, I lose $1 because it cost me $4. Why? The chicken actually $1, but I have to buy the rice for my brother, you know. I got to pay my brother $3. Then we operate a joint account together. You go figure who's making money and who's losing money. Every once in a while, MPs ask in Parliament, people write to the newspaper forum, can you break down the cost of building HDB flat? No answer. It's like saying, can you break down the chicken and the rice? Not? Cannot also. If ordinary citizens have to come to Hong Lim to ask for transparency on basic information like the breakdown of the cost of building HDB flats, I think it's really very sad. In recent years, you hear all the rhetoric. We will do more to help you. We will give you more subsidies. We will help the poor. We will help the elderly. We will do this, we will do that. Now, if you are helping people, you must be spending more money, right? So, I look at the budget. You know, last year, spending on social development. What is spending on social development? Social spending is education, healthcare, community development, and others. In 2011, the social spending, operating expenditure, was 17.7 billion. Come to 2012, it actually went down to 17.5 billion. I haven't counted inflation for that year yet. Huh? Last year, inflation about 4.6%. I haven't counted the population that is going up in that year. So how can you keep on saying you are doing more, and then you're spending less money and haven't even counted inflation and the number of people that's gone up? Even development expenditure for social spending has gone down. In 2011 it was 3.7 billion, come to 2012 is only 3.5 billion. I give you one specific example on social spending, education, and in particular university education. In 1986, the tuition fee to go to university was $1,200, medicine $1,300. Fast forward to this year, 2013, the tuition from normal course has gone up to about 7,600. For medicine is like more than 20,000. So you take the calculator, financial calculator, not ordinary calculator. You calculate how much has tuition fees increased from 1986 to 2013. For other courses, it's more than 7% per annum. For law, it's like 8+ per annum. And for medicine, it's 11+ per annum. Your inflation during this period was only about 2%. And government spending per university student, according to a media report quoting the then education minister, was 14,400 then. According to the Ministry of Education's Education Digest in 2012, now the spending is about 21,000. You take the financial calculator, you calculate again, you're only spending about 1.4% more per annum against the tuition increase of 7 to 11% per annum and inflation of only 2% per annum. We have a lot of money because if you look at the budget surplus last year was 3.9 billion. But according to the Department of Statistics, monthly digest of statistics, the surplus last year was 36 billion. How come 3.9 billion become 36 billion? Because if you see in the footnote, there's an explanation. According to IMF standards, some revenue like land sales, some of the return the reserves are recognized by IMF standards as revenue, but for our budget, we don't recognize. That's why there's such a big difference. Some of the transfers to endowment funds, they also IMF standard, you cannot count on expenditure, no. Because you didn't spend the money. You only transfer money to spend the interest only. I'm going to end and do something I've never done before. Where have all the wages gone? Gone to GDP, everyone. Where have the GDP gone? Gone to the reserves, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will you ever learn? I better stop, right? Such horrible singing. But you know why I did that? I did that because I thought the message will be more impactful if I put in this song. And since it's so horrible, you can never forget. I saw a signal just now that my time is up. Okay, so I shall end now. Sorry. I was contemplating whether to come to speak today, because you heard one speaker pull out at the last minute, right? And then, of course, 11 days ago, I was chided for what I wrote about Pulau Ubin, So like Gilbert say, only you scared, I also scared, So I was thinking very hard, to come or not to come? Sometimes in life, sadness overcomes fear. And when ordinary citizens have to even think about this, it is a shame. It is really, really very, very sad when ordinaries have to think about whether to come or not to come to speak. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Leong. Well, just to elaborate a little bit on what Mr. Leong has said just now. He said,
Giman hao, tai ki ho, Vanakkam and Namaste. Selamat datang kawan-kawan dan rakyat Singapura. Selamat Hari Pekerja semua. Good day, fellow Singaporeans and friends. Good day. I'd like to wish you all a happy Labor Day. This is our day actually. It's for all of us who have worked hard for our families and our country. Welcome to the real NetCon here on the Green. This is where we citizens come and fill the spaces. On February 16, Vincent Vijay Singer had extolled us to not be afraid, to come forth and take our part in civil society, not to be afraid anymore. So here I am today as a mother, a stay-home mom of three young children still in primary, secondary school, to share and to speak on behalf of all stay-home mothers. Okay, who are these people? Who are stay-home mothers? Typically, they were once successful career women holding satisfying jobs, well-paying jobs. However, they gave up the jobs to stay at home and look after the children, to be more at home with them, to guide them. Because back then times were good. We could afford to do that based on one salary, our husband's salary. A single income earned by the man of the family was sufficient back then to provide adequately for the whole family. This gave women like us confidence to contribute and invest in the growth of Singapore in other ways, to give up our career, to invest in our children, who are highly deemed the hope and the future of our country. We are the hand that rocks the cradle, burdened with the responsibility to nurture the nation's new generation of leaders. But now, over the years, we see the degeneration of the government's concern for the people. This is reflected in the bad policies, namely healthcare, housing, employment, and immigration. All this resulted in premature retrenchment and loss of jobs, and life becomes unbearable, escalated by the high costs of living and inflation. So it is time once again for the once career women to come forward to join the working force as one avenue of labour, as the government had always extolled us to be. It is a call of duty no decent citizen can ignore. How can they stand by and see their spouses struggling with a meagre income in these times now, to help put bread on the table? Indeed, there are tales of too many distraught homes and miseries brought forth by our inept government. The decision to return to the workforce is one of survival for the families. To a few, the decision is made easier because the children are grown-up young adults. For many others, like myself, it is still a struggling dilemma because our children are still young. We do not have maids, we don't have other extra help, and yes. The costs, what are the costs for such mothers? They are high in terms of domestic helper and childcare expenses. Will the remuneration be sufficient for the trade-off? Not just dollar in terms, but sacrifices of having to neglect the needs of our young children at a critical time in their life where the mother's love full-time would be a positive impact into adult life. So what has been done? We mothers are not asking for the moon or the sky or demanding. We are not asking for handouts from the government or preferential treatment. We are no softies. We harbour zero aspiration to earn millions of dollars. We are realistic and reasonable. We are only asking for the government to take note of our contribution as working moms in these years past in the homes, having invested in our children, sacrificed our career. Yes, we are pleading for them to not just take note, but to take concrete actions. We ask that the government be sensitive to the various challenges and obstacles stay-at-home mothers face in their attempt to return to the workforce. You know, we face prejudices because of our age. No young chickens anymore. We are passed over by employers who are biased, preferring to stick to younger job seekers. We are considered overqualified, as a consequence of which we are deprived of job opportunities. It all boils down to one very glaring explanation for our employers' behavior towards stay-at-home mothers. They have other cheap options from the immense pool of foreign talents. Cheaper workers they can exploit, paying them low wages and long hours, with long hours. So be it a lack of 2020 vision or simple myopic lack of vision where the government's concerned, the government should take the lead and introduce schemes like flexi hours in their departments. They should take the lead and not just give hearsay, in Parliament. Say, oh yeah, companies should encourage. We all should encourage stay-at-home moms to go back. Okay, I see my time is coming up. So let me just conclude by sharing with you why do we want to come here for a sequel protest event? The answer is simply this. Singaporeans have woken up to our rights as citizens, to our rights to speak out against hurtful policies. We are gathered here today in a lawful and peaceful protest. And as one united people, not just in voicing out against hurtful policies, but hopefully to explore the viability of alternative solutions and policies together. Citizens and government, not just having a NetCon over there and invited guests and citizens only are welcome. So I'd like to end by giving you a quotation which means quite a lot to me. It says, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." Thank you so much, Singapore and friends. Have a good day.
Let me come from the dark to the light so that the government can mark me. I have been told, just like the others, and it so happened that more and more increasing number of lawyers are being marked. But 10 years I've been marked, so what? But it's important, my dear fellow Singaporeans, that you have come today to mark the government. And if they don't listen to you, you know which column to mark. And on that note, I wish you a happy Mayday. And just a few minutes ago, to celebrate our diversity and to honor our cultural plurality, I've been asked to say a few words in Tamil. So I hope you will bear with me. No problem. Kawan kawan, saudara saudara dan saudari saudari saudari. That's not Tamil. Hari ini selamat rakyat. That's not Tamil, by the way. Just testing how many of you understand Malay. அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். இன்று பாட்டாளி தினம். இன்று நீங்கள் உங்களது உரிமைகளை எழுப்பும் நாள். முதலில் அரசாங்கம், தொழிற்சங்கம் மூன்றும் ஒன்று சேர்ந்து பாட்டாளிகளுக்கு உரிமைகளை உத்தரவாதம் கொடுக்கும் ஒரு முக்கோண கூட்டு ஏற்பாடு. இந்த முக்கோண கூட்டு ஏற்பாடு உங்களது உரிமைகளை குறைத்துக் கொண்டிருக்கிறவே தவிர இந்த 40 ஆண்டுகளாக உங்களுக்கு உரிமையை கொடுத்ததில்லை. Wow, everyone understand Tamil? ஆகையால் எனது அன்பு நண்பர்களே, சிங்கப்பூரியர்களே, எனது இதயம் கனிந்த மக்களே, உங்கள் உரிமைகளை நீங்கள் கேட்க வேண்டும். உங்கள் குறைகளை நீங்கள் எடுத்து பேச வேண்டும். நீங்கள் உங்களது கோரிக்கைகளை உங்களது நாடாளுமன்றத்தின் பிரதிநிதிகளிடம் கேட்க வேண்டும். வெட்கப்படாதீங்க, தைரியமா கேளுங்க. தட்டுனாதான் திறக்கப்படும், கேட்டாதான் கொடுக்கப்படும். நமது வெள்ளை அறிக்கை எங்கே போய் கொண்டிருக்கின்றது என்பதை நான் உங்களிடம் சொல்லி நீங்கள் தெரிய வேண்டியதில்லை. ஆகையால் அன்பர்களே, இந்த பாட்டாளி தினத்தில் நீங்கள் எல்லாம் விழித்திருங்கள். தனித்திரு, பசித்திரு, விழித்திரு. நீ சோர்ந்து படுத்து விட்டால் நீ படுத்த இடம் சுடுகாடு. பாய்ந்து புறப்படு, பாதையெல்லாம் முன்வீடு. விழித்துக் கொண்டோரெல்லாம் பிழைத்துக் கொண்டார், புரட்டை விட்டோரெல்லாம் கோட்டை விட்டார். வணக்கம். you for the support.
Remember to
Don't torture me again. Okay, today I want to talk about two pressing concerns that affect all walks of Singaporeans. First, the white paper. Second, a topic which is very close to my heart, that is human rights.
That's right.
I believe what is missing in the white paper is all of us. We are not in the white paper at all. The government can make bold assertions, I've shaved my hair. But perhaps our heads have been counted, but our voices have not been heard. Going by the great debate and unhappiness generated by this stubborn policy making and policy makers, i.e. the government, the white paper bill was passed. It is clear that this is a policy to make the increasingly harsh living conditions in Singapore even more unbearable. 6.9 million people in 17 years, 30% increase of population, I agree, Xiao. $6.9, what a figure. You turn 6 and 9 upside down, the effect is the same. And 6-9, the shape, by the way, looks very fishy. 2 months ago, 5,000 people gathered at the speaker's corner, and you have given the government a yellow card. You know what's a yellow card? In a soccer game, a referee gives, yes, a warning. After that, finally he gives the red card, you will be sacked. But I will come back to the red card later. Now we stay focused on our yellow card. So you came today to give, yes, your second yellow card. And the second yellow card. And you told the government at the last gathering at the speaker's corner, please listen to us, please hear us before you cover the shroud of white paper, which is a piece of deadly misery over us. And peace-loving Singaporeans and who are hardworking, so that you are seeking a peaceful existence and quiet and happy environment. Did they listen to you? No! How will our tiny island of 713.4 kilometers, which is already strained by 5.3 million. I ask you a very basic question, no need to go too far. Have the government found a solution to a simple overcrowding of trains with 5.3 million people? No! And yet you have a grand scheme to invite immigrants every year, 25,000 immigrants every year for 17 years? Where do you put our existing people? How much more land do you have to acquire? Have the government found any basic solutions to as basic as the train? And why 6.9, I ask you? And not why 6.99, huh? Have you ever thought about it? 6.9 and not 6.99. The white paper has count down to a pasar malam. Say lah, you want 7 million. If you don't even have the conscience to proclaim that your expected target population is 7 million, it's no longer about conscience anymore. You know what? It is called con science. How to con. It's a science of conning, it's not conscience. The government claims that if you don't increase the population to 6.9 billion people, Singapore's GDP growth will fall to 2 to 3% after 2030, and we will no longer be competitive in the global arena. But who does the population growth benefit? Does it benefit you? No! The targeted population growth increase poverty and it increase unequal distribution of wealth. As I speak, we are already the second most unequal society in the world, with the biggest divide, second most biggest divide between the rich and the poor. And you know what? Always the government use statistics to scare off the people with its damaging policies. And let me tell you, you know what is statistics like? It is like a bikini. What it reveals is interesting, but what it conceals is very fascinating. It conceals the fact that the government is stuck with the outmoded concept that economic growth is just about increase of population and productivity. Now, coming back to the very close to my heart, a topic which I said is human rights. I will not tell you the constitutional rights and civil liberties now, but I will go back to a very basic question. Human rights is about having the space to discover the human spirit. We are creating a society devoid of spirit with this increased population. We are making ourselves even more weak for new occupiers to just make money. And education and acquisition of knowledge is not just about a means to an end. We need our kids to study literature, understand the cosmos, appreciate life, and questioning minds. And you know what? You need the time, not quick, fish, finish, faster. You need time to stop and pause and stare. You need time and space to think. But don't stare too much, otherwise they'll send you to IMH. So the system has created hypertension. It rewards materialism, which in turn creates lack of passion for the finest aspects of life. We are always talking about Singapore as being a cosmopolitan, world-class city. But let me tell you, you can be rich, but without human rights, Singapore, she's a poor little rich girl. My dear friends, coming to a very vital topic, the rule of law in Singapore is under serious threat right now. Bloggers are taken to task on account of contempt of court and defamation actions. Civil society is under threat. You know, just look across the causeway. Does the Malaysian government and the people have time for all these things? You know why? Even the government in Malaysia can be any time now. So, you know what's happening in Singapore? The government is too free and the people are too busy. So that is why they have so much of time to spend on all these actions against bloggers. This is a pivotal moment of our history that we stand united to fight for our fundamental rights as citizens, and please lend your support to one another. Today is Mayday. It's about workers' rights. The tripartite relationship between the government, employer and trade unions is supposed to protect the workers' rights. But you know what? This ineffective three-way arrangement has compromised workers' rights. The government is saying that this three-way relationship does not oppress the workers because it has worked for 40 years. Of course it has worked for 40 years. For who? For the government. So I ask you a direct question. You are the people You answer this question. Do the unions in Singapore represent your voice? I hope the government is listening. It is time that you stand up for Singapore to reclaim your basic rights, which is lacking in the following areas. No free speech. You open the mouth, sue and sue and sue. Now you don't even have a place to sue because the toilet is closed. And there is no free assembly. You have weak unions. You have the ISA. You still have mandatory death penalty. And you have no human rights commission. The neighboring ASEAN countries, Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, and Indonesia were all the founding members of the ASEAN. All have human rights commission. Why Singapore does not have the National Human Rights Commission? Say boo! And you have, I will pause for a moment, a weak law society. You go across the causeway, you see a very strong bar council that's fighting for people's rights. We have a weak parliament, I don't have to tell you. There's no parliamentary ombudsman. There's no automatic right to by-election. A lady called Velama last year, a brave lady from Hougang. She sends a regard to you. She is quite ill at the moment, but she sends a regard to you. Velama, who happens to be a cleaner, she has to go to the court to clean up the constitution. That is the status of constitutional rights in Singapore. Section 377A. You make people criminals just because of their sexuality. It's a shame. My dear brothers and sisters, friends and fellow Singaporeans, I love all of you so much. And I'm telling you from my bottom of my heart, we cannot be any more weaker. So you have come to do something about this today. You can communicate through Facebook, Twitter, email, telephone, postcards. Go to your MPs and air your views about this white paper continuously and about your rights. If all that does not work, then you give the government the red card at the next general elections. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Fellow Singaporeans, congratulations. Today is the first Labour Day gathering from the ground up. And in other words, those who want to be here, who choose to come here, are here today. So please give yourselves a round of well-deserved applause. I'm not a master orator, but I'll do my very best. I'd like to start with two words: family, company. Our Singapore family makes us who we are today. Because of collective sacrifice, we, former immigrants, our forefathers, have made a better life for ourselves, and we hope the same for our children. This is the foundation of our society and country. The question we are facing, Singaporeans today, is about the company resources. What do we do with the resources we build? Do we have resources, Singaporeans? No, I mean as a country, do we have resources? To help our people. That's what resources are for, isn't it? Savings for a rainy day. Isn't it to help the people? To make our country, Singapore Incorporated, a strong company. The first thing is, the company has done well. The company must do well for the family. Why are Singaporeans like me so concerned about something like 6.9 million people? Because land is limited. So many houses, so many jobs, so many opportunities can be created. But in our country, we got no countryside. No countryside. We got no second tier or third tier cities. So for the middle, lower income, to live or to retire in. I think you all know where I'm getting at. So we've come to an inflection point in our journey as a nation. We've come to the point where trade-offs have to be made carefully by the company for the family welfare. Otherwise, as we go on another 3 years, 8 years, family members will drift further apart. And so, my friends, my question to all of us here today, young and old, married, unmarried, children, no children, how do we ensure that there is opportunity for every family member to have good jobs and equitable outcomes, regardless of their start in life and regardless of life's misfortune? I'm a PMET. A PMET is someone who's tertiary educated, certificate, diploma, degree, but whose occupation is not restricted. In other words, someone with a somewhat equivalent qualification from overseas can come to Singapore and present themselves as your competitor. Many times they come from countries that have a relative lower cost of living. They are willing to take a more competitive wage. And so Singapore PMETs are crowded out easily on this small island. Let's think about this. Skilled overseas talent with a technical certificate or diploma earning $2,000 qualify for an S-Pass. Levy $250 or thereabout. Those overseas talents with a degree or relevant experience earning $3,000, $4,500, $8,000 qualify for an E-Pass. No levy required. Will employers be motivated enough to recruit you, Singaporean? Retain you, Singaporean? Develop you, Singaporean? Bearing in mind they have to pay the 20% employer CPF contribution. Besides, if the company is profitable, AWS another 8%. Total they will pay 28% more. Although 80% of PMET jobs, according to official data, are done by residents, Singapore PRs, as of December 2011. Can we do more for Singaporeans? Can we? Yes! Can we? Yes! So we come to a stage. Many PMETs face stagnant wages. During my time, private sector, starting pay as a polytechnic graduate, 1995, $1,600, $1,800. Starting pay as a university graduate, 1996, $2,200, $2,600. Eh? Not very much different today, eh? Huh? So can we reset prices of our things, goods and services to 18 years ago? Mee rebus, $2. 150, can or not? So many PMETs face underemployment, doing jobs that do not fully utilize their tertiary training or not fully relevant to their qualification. Working as, I'm not belittling any of this occupation, but I'm just saying in general, if you know somebody around you, my ex-colleague, this and that, everybody come, oh, property agent, insurance agent, various types of customer service and so on. Jobs created to perpetuate a rent-seeking economy. Can we sustain like this? No. Can we? No. In Singapore, we have become unknowingly the company more important than the family. We become so estranged, disaffected. Family members feel they have been neglected, marginalized in their own country. What happens to such a country? A very big company whose family members feel they have been left to swim or sink. Naturally, family members, like all of you here today, become disillusioned. Family members become despondent. Family members begin to quarrel. Family members begin to be divided. Is this the kind of family we want to have? A very successful country. My relative who migrated 20 years ago, when I talked to him, he said, no lah, your country per capita GDP 60,000 leh, where got charm? A very successful company. You look at all our companies, the big ones, which are not making money. Lean what? mean to the bone. Correct or not? But with a family so divided, so bitter, so unhappy, particularly because we are such a small family, if we are divided as a family, can we continue to provide good opportunities and security for our family members? That is my parting shot. Fellow Singaporeans, until we meet again, I wish all of you happy Labor Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. Thank you very much for your attention now, and back to our meeting. Today I'm speaking as an ordinary citizen. I'm a retiree, and I have been asked, many questions when I was telling my family, my friend, that I will be speaking as one of the speakers. My wife's reaction to me is that you will be arrested, you know. Then my colleague, my ex-colleague, my friend, they told me this, you just teach you, but don't say anything, just say chai chai. They are afraid that I make a mistake in my speech, I will be arrested tomorrow. So this is the fear, the society of fear that we are living in for the past 40 over years in Singapore. It's time to change. And I'm happy to notice that Mr. M. Ravi actually just now is talking about that, human right. Basically, a society without human right is not a society at all. So today, my main topic about change, but how do we do it? Let me explain to you how we can do it. Today, I'm happy to notice that so many people of true blue Singaporean are here today. Never in the history of Singapore have we such an exciting reawakening of the people. Reawakening of the people of Singapore is more than the Mayday. It's a reborn Singapore. I'm so happy that you all now are taking action for the first time in Singapore history by coming here in such a large number, not afraid of anybody telling you not to come. You have shown to the rest of Singapore that this is the way to be the true blue Singaporean today. So Mr. M. Ravi has told you that at the first meeting, 16th of February, you have given the government a yellow card. Today you are giving them another yellow card, but with a kind heart, because we are not unfair people. Why I say with a kind heart? Because we are going to help them. We are going to help them to change because they are in a dilemma. They don't know what to do. So that is the reason why today, I call this meeting the People's Assembly. Today we have a People Assembly. People Assembly stand for 210 years in Singapore today. I hope all of you can remember, can bear with me. People Assembly means power back to the people after 47 years. Second meaning of the People Assembly means positive thinking and action. With positive thinking and action, all of you have future again. You are bringing back Singapore to having a future again. This is what I call the reborn Singapore today. You have turned up, the fact that you have turned up in such large number is bewildering. It's beyond anybody's guess, any dream. This is beauty, and the world is coming to know about it. The Singaporeans have the spine to stand up. We are no longer just listening to the government. We want to take action with a positive attitude. Sadly today, We have many true Singaporeans, they are just typing in the keyboard. Many of them, they don't have a way to go about it. I read one of the typical comments in the Facebook. This person actually commented on whether people come here to attend this Mayday Protest. He said, yes, be there as Singapore citizen, not politician. Bring forward GE to 2013, not 2016. Many Singapore citizens are jobless and hungry. Jobs in Singapore are going to foreigners, with Singapore citizens deprived of fair job opportunity. Can't wait until 2016. GE now. Today you are having a GE, actually, it's just that the vote hasn't come. Sadly, today the government has forgotten, long forgotten in fact, to serve the people. It's exploiting us, Singapore citizens, as economic slaves. It's turning this place into the foreigner haven. Like the Hokkien saying, "Buirin Chu." Today we cannot recognize our own house. Today, as I stand here, I still can call myself Singaporean. Tomorrow, I don't know. Because tomorrow, when you go out to the street, go out to take an MRT, all the foreigners will be around you. You will be in a minority. However, we are kind people. We are not politicians. Many of us here are speaking housewife, underemployed graduate. They have something in their heart to speak to you. They speak to you heart to heart. Okay? So we are not that bad. We want to do a favor to the government. We are going to give them a change program. We want them yet to change. We have earlier on heard so many speakers talking about problem with graduate cannot get a job. Many graduates have to go become a cab driver. Housewife cannot make ends meet because single income owner not enough. And we have actually later on some single mother, some other people telling you there are even more problems. So I'm not going to take too long to talk about what kind of problem. I'm talking about, although we have a problem, we must know what to do for change. We need to change. So we have today actually put together a change program. Which I intend to review, to announce to Singaporeans. We are going to do them a favor. This is what they can do to help Singapore, to change their wrong policy. Number one, the change program here say no to 6.9 million population. Number two, very important, close to your heart. Say no to free work permit, free job hunting visa to all the foreigners coming to Singapore. We give visa, we give work permit only to skills that we don't have in Singapore. Not to Tom, Dick and Harry. The third change that we want the government to take action on is say no to all the malpractices and against employment of their own citizens. I will cover this point later on, a bit later. What is the malpractices? The next one is build a Singapore first infrastructure, not 6.9 million infrastructure, wasting money. Billions of dollars will have to be spent on all the 6.9 million population infrastructure, at the end, when the economy slows down, anything happen, right? It will become a burden, a heavy burden. Next one is to stop the habit of overtaxing the citizen. You overtax them everywhere with all the direct, indirect taxes. That's not enough. You also hold back your public taxes by privatizing, making more money again, and you make profit from land, from the HDB flat, which is unconscionable. The next change we want the government is to do is to stop using all the defamation law and unfair law against citizens. Yeah! They are not criminals. They are only citizens. It's wrong to use a civil defamation suit against them. We are not criminals. The next item, very important, is stop passing all kinds of law against Singaporean interests. Why do you want to have so many laws to allow them to invest overseas and losing billions? This is nonsense. So go back, as true Singaporean, we are united as one. With a positive attitude and with action, we can change Singapore. Be the master of your country. This is your country. On the topic very close to our heart is employment. We do not understand why the Minister for Manpower is closing one eye to all the malpractices going on in employing foreigners. Just now you have already heard all the evidence of the speaker on it. A well-educated Singaporean cannot find a job. He's a graduate. And instead, you employ foreigners who come here with fake certificates, so many of them. This kind of employment practice, the Minister for Manpower had to change it himself. He cannot just give some excuses tomorrow and say, oh, I can't do anything, it's up to the employer. And mind you, every day we are traveling in overcrowded trains, overcrowded buses. What is it? It's wrong to have so many people jamming our traffic and we can't move. The ministers are not doing his job. And on top of that, can you imagine this? The Ministry for Home Affairs recently issued an advertisement in Johor Bahru inviting foreigners to apply for policeman job in Singapore. People say this makes your blood boil. He should stop his agency from issuing this kind of advertisement for job overseas. We have many unemployed here who are prepared to be policemen. And not telling all kinds of stories like promising people and never carry out your promise. Recently, the PM Lee, after his visit to US, he came back and said, oh, we must have a balance of right between the individual and society. What is he talking about? Bullshit! All these years, what he did is just the opposite. He should abolish all the unfair laws like ISA, like all the use of the defamation law against ordinary citizens. And look, the latest, even a cartoonist, he cannot draw cartoon. What is cartoon? Cartoon is not accusing the government for anything. Cartoon is just saying, have a nice time, have a good day, relax. That is cartoon. So today, I hope to be able to give a short speech in Mandarin, so that those of you who do not understand what I'm saying, you also can share with us what is the change we are talking about. 各位先生、女士们，你们好！我们很高兴的看到大家热烈的出席这次光年公园大会群众会。这次聚会是在新加坡历史上最有意义的一次机会。人民已经懂得政府做些什么，他们已经知道，他们最近所做的事情完全都是错的，只是顾自己而已，没有照顾到人民。听过多位不同阶层人士的发言，你们可以看得清楚，我们每一个问题不是人造的，不是政府的态度错了，他们对政府对人民的态度是错的，这个是要彻底的更改。我们怎么样更改呢？我们要采取行动。怎么样采取行动呢？好像刚才我说的，我们这一次行动大会是 People's Assembly 人民的聚会，这也是代表说我们人民已经站起来了，要我们新加坡再强盛下去，一定要改政府的政策。所以，刚才我已经看到了我用英语的已经讲过一遍了，现在我用华语再讲一次。我们要向政府主动的提出7项的改革。第一项的改革，废除690万人口的计划。第二项改革，废除无限度外劳在本地找工作的策略，这个是错的。没有一个国家会让你这么做的，只是新加坡。对。废除第3件，废除所有对公民不合理的聘请方式。刚才我所说的，我们的政府部门在外地打广告叫他们来申请做新加坡的 policeman， 这个是错的。你假如有在小心看到这不只是对于我们本地的工人没有利益他们这些外地的人来到新加坡的时候本来是少部分的人是外国人，时间变久了，他们懂得怎么样做，完全变成外国人，整间公司的资源全部换外国人。我们已经有很多本地的公民失去他的职业，是因为有这样的情形发生。第4项，我们要废除为690万人口计划的建设，这个是大的开支不是小事。我们的人民的钱来的，假如他这么样继续下去假如经济一不景气这个是一种很大的负担。很多国家因为他有这样的想法变成到后来完全破产。第5项计划要改革，废除各种不合理多方面的税收，多层的税收 ，GST 也好，什么人头税也好，什么 COE 也好 ，ERB 也好，这种都是双方面的多层税收，这种负担使得我们人民失去他们的 retirement， 失去他们的生活，变成家里不安，变成 divorce 很高。第6项，我们希望政府要考虑不采取直接的行动。我们给他一个 yellow card 他们要废除完全不合民主的法规，那些什么 ISA 什么 Use of Defamation Law 这种都是不需要的，因为我们人民是人民嘛，不是 criminal 嘛，我们不是犯罪的人嘛，我们只是讲一些意见，不公平的意见而已，好像那个 cartoon 写一些意见而已 所以很不合理的政府。第7项，我们要废除所有对人民不利的法规，包括在海外投资。我们现在在海外投资所失去的所有的人民的钱是超过50亿元这个假如再好好在本地用我们会制造很多工作给人民的，也可以减轻我们的生活费。所以我们这一次呢，人民要以正确的态度、诚恳的态度，跟政府，我给你给你多一次机会，现在我们给有7项的计划，你慢慢的考虑，不要在巴黎门做戏，真的去做。我最后要强调的是，我们新加坡现在已经站起来了，你们能够把你们的将来弄好，我们要改革。Thank you very much.
Selamat petang saudara-saudara dan saudari-saudari. 各位下午好，平安。Welcome. Good evening, everybody. Everybody includes friends, Singaporeans, and people from all over the world who have come to Singapore, whether as tourists, workers, or migrants. I want to make just one point, and the point is, sometimes the government, the policy makers, they do not know best. We, the people who are living in Singapore, we know what we go through day by day. We know how we have to work very hard. Most of us, as I observe, including myself, never leave work till at least 8, 9 p.m. We rush off to work by 7, 8 a.m. How many hours is that? Is it within labor laws? No. How many hours do the ministers work? Many hours. From morning, they go in their chauffeured cars to do their important work in the office. And in the evening, they have to attend VIP functions, wearing smart coat and tie. So burdensome, in this hot Singapore. They have to wear all topped up, proper ties, long sleeve shirt, some more coat. You see some of our very senior ministers, jackets in this freezing weather. We know what it means to work by the sweat of our brow, the labor of our hands, and the depths of our hearts, whether as cleaners, as teachers, as principals, as ministers, oh, sorry, wrong one, as Singaporeans who know that we have to work hard for a living. So my point, remember please, throughout the rest of what I'm going to say, my point is, policy makers do not always know what is best for us. To celebrate the cultural diversity of what Ravi so brilliantly did in Tamil, I of course can't do that in Tamil. I'm going to do that in Cantonese. And I do this to make the very, very important point. The Speak Mandarin campaign, in my humble housewifely opinion, whatever my titles, whatever designations I have, I'm first and foremost a homemaker, like Justina. I'm a housewife who loves my family, and rejoice with me, I am a grandma to 2 little children. The youngest one was just born 5 weeks ago. And like what our friend just said, I want them and your children and those younger ones perhaps your brothers and sisters, to the older ones among us, I want your grandchildren, and if you are fortunate enough, by God's grace, your great-grandchildren, to live in a Singapore that has true freedom, true rights, and the joy of living. 各位鄉親父老，各位新加坡同胞，各位外地嚟嘅移民朋友，你哋好。我叫做陳慧嫻，香港有一個陳慧嫻係一個大歌星，我唔係嗰個陳慧嫻，我係新加坡出世嘅陳慧嫻。不過我嘅爸爸媽媽，我嘅老爺奶奶，佢哋係喺中國過嚟。我媽媽嘅祖先係中國，不過佢自己係怡保人。所以我出世到我長大之間，我都係以廣東話同我嘅婆婆、我爸爸媽媽溝通。我從細學習嘅人倫道德觀理嗰啲觀念，窿中係以廣東話學出嚟嘅。廣東話好唔好？好。福建話好唔好？好。地招會好唔好？好。新義會啊好。杜背公老義會。什麼話都好講，只要講人話，對不對？不要講鬼話，不要講騙話，不要講假話。Whatever language you speak is great. Malayali, Tamil, Hindustani, Indonesian, Batak, whatever is great as long as you speak with love, sincerity, and true commitment for the other speaker's welfare. We speak peace unto one another. We speak peace to the policymakers. We speak peace to the government. We want them to know we are here today not to hantam them. Not that, okay? We don't hantam them. We want to make them become more sensible. You hantam them, they become bodoh. Worse, they become more bodoh.
PFP bodoh!
To continue a bit more in Cantonese to make my point that the Speak Mandarin campaign was very, very wrong. It killed, really killed. What did it kill? For me, I can see with my own eyes. My grandma and I, my maternal grandma, who was the only grandparent that I was able to really communicate in Cantonese with, I have such a close relationship with her. She died at the age of 75 when I was an adult. So you can imagine all the happy years eating her steamed egg with sugar. Wow, that's a treat. She'll go down to Chinatown, buy all the broken eggs, put in a pot, come home, we'll all help to whisk, and then add sugar, and she'll laboriously squeeze ginger juice. Add that, steam it in one big pot, and we will have scoops of it. Such simple childhood joy. Can we afford eggs and sugar now? Yes, of course. Most of us can, I believe. But do you have the time to do this with your children or grandchildren? I'm afraid not. So 我嗰陣時同我婆婆長大，真係好開心。佢好慳，落去牛車水買嗰啲爛殼蛋，帶一個煲仔，曲晒嗰啲爛蛋，就成煲玩翻鄧拎殼。我哋住鄧拎殼，發，大家輪流發話咁大煲蛋20幾粒嚇，要發好耐先發得勻循，發得夠滑啊！佢又加啲糖啦，又加啲薑汁，燉出嚟嘅蛋香噴噴。錫我啦嘛，梗係啦！我哋一群5個姊妹，啊，我姐姐、我2個妹妹、1個細佬，同爸爸媽媽7個人住喺佢哋叫3房式，好好聽啊！實際係2間房1個廳，即4個女1個仔啊！點樣搞呢？4個女同1間房 double decker 冇錯啦，雙碌架床。咁爸爸媽媽同細佬另外一間房，婆婆有時過嚟瞓咧，瞓大廳，係咁樣啦嚇。不過咧唔慘，好開心。所以我哋消滅咗謊言係政府嘅一大錯。我嘅仔女而家同佢嘅阿嫲傾偈，正喺度講阿爺死入人啊，叫阿爺食飽未啊？好似講印度話咁樣，好慘啊！我聽見好傷心。另外，我哋嗰啲中意玩下嚇、趯下趯咩？趯咩？集字機啦、4D 啦嗰啲人，而家政府仲好開通，俾你咩咧？成個大賭場2個大賭場添。不過呢個政策講老實，佢唔俾新加坡人咁容易入去，要俾100蚊嚇，未賭就先輸100。外地人可以隨便去隨便去，呢啲係好自私、好陰險嘅一種政策。人哋可以傾家蕩產、賣兒賣女、賣車賣公司，我哋新加坡人冇相干，有咩 anti-gambling casino 乜嘢 committee 啊，嚟搞掂你啊！佢哋咧去死佢嘅事，翻去自己屋企，翻去自己國家，苦到甩真係輸到苦到甩，你嘅事咯嚇，唔關我嘅事。政府咁樣嘅政策係同我哋講乜嘢？ The casino policy. What does it tell us? It's okay to beggar thy neighbor. Singaporeans got to pay $100 to go in, but foreigners, free. Please go in, spend, lose your pants. Okay, you go back to your own country. You are not here in Singapore. Not my problem. This very selfish attitude, if it permeates our society from top to bottom, what kind of people are we? We will become a hopeless nation. We might as well die. No point going on. 最後唱兩句 just to sing 2 lines in Cantonese to demonstrate what I've just said about the bilingual policy that was so successful and is so wrong now with the Speak Mandarin campaign. It's to wish you joy and peace. 我祝福你呀，笑面常常見，永生天倫共理享，歡樂綿綿。謝謝。
Wow, our country. So, Mr. William Lee.
Okay. My dear Singapore friends, happy Labor Day. Okay, I will speak in Chinese. If I have the time permit, I will speak in English. 大家新加坡朋友，你们好。好。OK， 我是一个大学生，我已经是在之前是做了10年的政府工，就是当兵了，直接讲。然后我就直接从兵营出来之后，我就去做买卖车。然后我就觉得没有前途，我就要准备用我的大学文凭去找一份工作，我喜欢的工作，我理想的工作。不过呢，在9个月，我去申请了100多份 resume， 就是求职。不过呢，没有一个回复。我相信，在场下面的人全部都是有几个没有工作的，像我一样的人，有吗？为什么我会去当一名德士司机呢？就是我朋友跟我讲，就是说，当一名德士司机，一天可以赚50块、80块，很好了，至少有一个工作做。 有一份薪水可以拿，可以养活自己，对吗？福建有一句话讲一句话，是说无鱼虾啊嘛好，对无？对。嘛问题是讲，咱有变食着鱼无？虾啊嘛无啊，对嘞，咱去食虾米啊。外国咱去讲食鱼啊，大鱼大虾啊，对无？就是安尼款，我无变，我就去做华德斯，去驾德士，没办法。所以呢，我现在在讲的话，我有兴趣的，没有一个求职过来，我去当一个销售员求职，可以有几个人邀请我去应征，不过呢，10个人当中，只有我一个新加坡人，而他们要求是少过我们新加坡生活水平的工钱，你肯接受吗？那就是说，假如我们不可以接受，你说他们说我们不要接受的工作，合理吗？
不合理。
就是这样，我才变成一个德士司机。对，然后我现在再跟你们讲说，我在驾德士的时候，有经过一些跟有趣的人聊过几个闲话，我就讲一个客人，我是从江宁机场去到圣淘沙的，我问他为什么金融区有这么多某一个国家的人在那边做工，你猜他们说什么？他说那个国家有一个特专的学院来教他们做这份工了。那我想问新加坡你们，我们是教育系统有问题，还是他在说骗话呢？对了，就是因为我们政府给那些外国人才进来，导致到他们不需要train我们的那个新加坡人民，就是说培养我们新加坡人民，对不对？还有一个外国人才还跟我们讲一句话，他说新加坡人啊，永远是一只牧羊，不能做一个牧羊犬。那我想问你们新加坡人民，你们要做牧羊犬还是牧羊呢？对吗？那我就跟你讲，我们现在是要有领导能力的人，而不是跟随者。那好。Let me speak in English about my past events leading me to become a taxi driver. I've been a government civil servant in the army for the past 10 years before I become a sales consultant in the car dealerships, which I felt is there's no much job prospect, so I left the job and to go and search for a job that's my interest and where my field of study is. But sadly, after hundreds of resumes sent in the past 9 months, I received none replies for interviews at all. If the government says that there's a labor crunch in Singapore, why can't the company give me an opportunity for an interview? If the interview is not successful, I'm alright. But the problem is that because of the abundance of the foreigners coming to Singapore to get the job for themselves, it resulted that there is no incentive for the company to train and keep their workers. Okay, from here I will end my speech. I hope Singaporeans would come forward and make the government know that we are very unhappy towards the 6.9 million populations. Thank you.
I'm going to talk about a topic which is very close to my heart, which is the plight of low-wage workers in Singapore. I'm a social worker, and in my years of experience doing social work, I have come to realize, and also to have our policymakers said that Singapore has one of the highest income inequality rates in the world. The wages of the poor have not increased in material terms, and the cost of living continues to escalate. Poverty is the outcome of grave injustice, and it can be an incredibly disempowering experience. When your dignity is trampled upon, you suffer in silence, you suffer in desperation, and you suffer in isolation. The poor may not dare to speak up and make themselves heard because they feel it's shameful, and they don't want their relatives and friends to know the difficulties and suffering they're experiencing. In Singapore, there are many families and individuals who are struggling just to make ends meet. But many of them don't need handouts, and they most certainly don't need another NDC voucher. What they need is a decent wage with decent hours and decent working conditions. But not only does the government continue to have policies which keep the poor poor, but worse still, they continue to blame them for their poverty. The poor are constantly told, and shamefully enough by the unions, that they are lazy, unproductive, and they need to buck up if they want higher and better wages. But how can our low-wage workers who earn as little as $600 a month, work shifts, have irregular days off, clock in between 12 to 16 hours a day, have time for upgrading and skills training? How can they be more productive when they are exploited? Many of them may not have CPF or medical benefits, and some of them have illnesses and have huge medical bills that they cannot pay off. And many of them are afraid of creating trouble for fear of losing their jobs. Now, our local poor will continue to be poor and will continue to be exploited as long as we continue to recruit hundreds of thousands of migrant workers to replace them. As a social worker who works on migrant labor issues, I have seen Bangladeshi workers who work in our shipyards, and mind you, our #1 port in the world, Keppel Shipyard, Sembawang, Jurong Shipyard, and they are earning $1.50 per hour. And there are some who even earn $2 per hour. These are the regular wages that many of our low-wage migrant workers are working under. How are our local workers ever to compete on such wages? These men are from poverty-stricken countries of Bangladesh and India, and they may pay up to $9,000 to recruiters in their countries of origin just for the opportunity for a better life here. I have seen many of these migrant women and men who have become injured at work suffer from debilitating injuries and accidents while they are building our MRT stations, our schools, and our homes. I have seen how many employers refuse to house them, refuse to provide food and medical attention when they are injured. So when they become a liability, they're ignored and they're discarded. And I have even seen employers resort to hiring men from security companies with gangster-like behavior, who will assault and forcefully repatriate them. Many of these women and men working as cleaners, kitchen assistants, waiters and waitresses, they labor up to 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, and in the most unfortunate cases, they are victims of human trafficking and are deceived into jobs and working conditions that they did not expect. With such miserable working conditions for migrant workers, where can our local workers find a place in this economy? Where can they find a place in our society? Where can they find decent jobs with decent wages for ourselves? So our local PMETs are also being displaced because employers hire foreigners and because these foreigners do not mind being paid less and working longer hours. Yeah, their salaries are not high enough to cope with the cost of living, and when they are unfairly dismissed or retrenched, they have limited means to seek redress, nor do they have unemployment benefits and insurance to help them cope with their difficulties. Now, human rights are indivisible, and the equality of people is a principle in which our society was built upon. We should not tolerate inequality and exploitation, whether it affects women or men, the young, the old, the disabled or the able-bodied, homosexual or heterosexual, Singaporean or migrant. So instead of drawing false distinctions, a more sustainable and inclusive approach is ensuring that the structures and policies which result in disadvantaging everyone are changed. Therefore, when we have measures which aim to sharpen the distinction between Singaporeans and foreigners, it creates a false divide, when the blame lies not with foreigners but with our government and our immigration policies. And it was these policies which supposedly put Singaporeans first just create an illusion of citizenship entitlement, when in actual fact no substantial change has happened because the real issue of inequality, exploitation and social justice is not addressed.
Right on!
All the problems that have been unleashed, such as locals getting displaced from our jobs, overcrowded transportation, depressed wages, inadequate hospitals, are due to the fact that we have an overly liberal immigration policy, inadequate social protection, and lousy labor laws. I'd like to just take this moment and pause and think about the significance of Labor Day. In the 19th century in America, workers took to the streets and started striking on the issue of long working hours. Many workers back then were laboring 14 to 16 hours a day, and they had had enough. Over the decades, tens of thousands of them and their families began to talk about acting in solidarity to pressurize the employers and the government to reduce working hours. The unions and workers knew that if they stood together in their workplaces, in their communities and in their homes in support of one another, it would bring about change. By the time all the strikes and demonstrations happened in July 1889, the International Labour Congress in Paris met and they agreed to pass a resolution in support of the 8-hour day in North America. And this is the history of why we have 8-hour days in Singapore and all over the world, because of the struggles that the workers and the unions have always had. Many of the rights that we take for granted now, such as public holidays, weekends off, medical benefits, paid annual leave, sick leave, were a result of trade union and workers' struggles. When these struggles were taking place, the workers were united in achieving justice and equality for all. They recognized that their problems and difficulties were shared by everyone, regardless of social class or national origin. And there is dignity in all work, whether it is construction work, office work, executive, engineering, domestic workers, sex workers. We all should have equal labor protections, and it should apply to everyone. I would like to end by thanking Nizam, who had resigned from the Association of Muslim Professionals, for his courage for standing up to the state when it accused him of engaging in race-based politics. And I would also like to thank him for exposing how the government continues to intimidate civil society through threats of funding cuts and accusations of political agendas, and through suing and defamation suits. We should not have to tolerate the government's oppression simply because we organize ourselves and choose to publicly express our dissatisfaction. We need to target state power and the state for not relinquishing its power to us. So what Nizam has done is truly inspirational. Singapore needs a vibrant civil society so that we can build an inclusive society together, so that our rights and our dignity are respected. And this cannot be achieved if we continue to let the government and those in power push us around. Your presence here today is a symbol of our collective resistance. Thank you very much. Happy Labor Day.
All right. I'm very concerned citizens who love Singapore and Singaporeans, right? Now, I'll call upon our next speaker, Mr. Robert Yap, 66-year-old, and still working. He is a manager in a local logistics company. Mr. Robert Yap.
A very good evening, Singaporeans. Singaporean minta hao. Selamat petang, rakyat Singapura. Okay, friends, I will start with English and mix with a little bit of Hokkien. Long chong cham cham kana cha lu ja sai bei. 为什么我站在这边？66岁了。I'm 66 years old, and why I'm standing here at this Hong Lim Protest Center? Anybody know? I got mine. Okay, let me tell you, I'm going to raise a very important issue regarding CPF. I tell my. Okay, 我問你兩頭一句啊 ，CPF 嘅錢是唔是乜人嘅錢 ？Is the CPF money belong to all Singaporeans? Loud and clear. Let the government, the lawmaker understand this is our money. You know, our government is a very clever government. But before I say some more, I don't belong to any political parties, I'm sorry. I'm speaking from a true Singaporean. I challenge the CPF not to sue me. All my correspondence is by email. I did not bring today, it's in my office, okay? I tell you, you know what they do? They roti prata. Patia de wo. Peng lai peng king. They told me what, drawn down age. You know what's drawn down age? Anybody aware of the Singapore CPF Act? Patia de way. Chi teng kala way. What cháu kích check ha, drawn down age 嘅意思，我係架一擺。60二係架一擺掉喎，不過60係我係嘢個背曬，拍嘅係人聽。Let me tell you, fellow Singaporean, if 按照背曬，我係講，因人聽到就跟他聽，跟他曬。Let me tell you, fellow Singaporean. If I'm facing this type of situation, I understand those in the age of 54, 55 coming next year, those in the age of 60 coming to 62, 2 years down the road, you will all be facing the same problem. Let us bring this voice to them. I even challenge them. I wrote to 12 parliamentarians of our Singapore, but no minister reply me. Before the election, sorry, I say I'm not a politician. Before election, hello, Mr. Yap, you please support me. I will do whatever for Singaporean. After election, everything can aside. Kawan-kawan, saya ini malam hati banyak panas. Kalau abang tak nak angkat rupiah CPF wang, lu boleh panas lah. Never mind. Even my fellow speaker have said, you want to sue us, go and sue. Never mind. Theo vô. This uncle is very right. I want person, no power. I need all the power here. I am prepared to come up with a petition letter all signed by you and sent to the president. 會使未？會使未？冇啊，咱人簽了叫總統啊，總統上大了嘛。
總統冇用啊，成了屁啊，總統。
But let me tell you one thing, cool down, cool down. No, let me tell you. We are Singapore, we are a law-abiding country. We go by the law, okay? We go by the law. The thing is this, they are not doing their job. And then they just turn around, twist around. I tell you lah, all our Singaporean lah, sa long trong si lah. Boy si pun puas si, I can tell you lah, because they turn around. They told me I cannot take my money. They tell me, Mr. Yap, the government said you live until 85 years old. Very simple. I tell them, never mind. 1 cent I don't take. You sign letter guarantee I live 85. They said, go lah, mau take tai chi. I'm sorry. Today I'm here to bring up the Hong Lim Law. When the lion comes, the stadium all got the lion roar, right? We must bring the Hong Lim Law and signal to the people to wake up!
Wake up! Yeah!
We Singaporeans today, we are not small boys and small girls. We are not RPM. We are having our brain to think.
Yeah!
I'm sorry. I waste your too much time. My time is quite running short. I think the marshal is waiting to give me a yellow card already, you know. So after tonight, please think about it, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Singaporeans. Think what you're going to do next. Even you go to CPF board tomorrow, you will never get your money. If you get your money, I will pay you double. I tell them, you call any minister to talk to me on TV, on stage, in conversation with a citizen, they dare not. Tonight, I challenge them again. I hope the press is here. Go and write to them. I challenge them on TV. Now, this is the Hong Lim Law. Thank you. Terima kasih ya. Supporter is good, but we support from the heart. Dalam hati kita mau tekan, kita kuat tekan. Jangan takut, mati pun tak apa. You listen carefully, please, ladies and gentlemen. A fish got no water will sure die. A man got no money will also die. Agree? Right? Show the government I mean business, okay? One more round of applause. Thank you. Appreciate it. Kamsia. Banyak terima kasih. Waalaikumsalam.
Good afternoon, Singapore. I'm Vivian. I have an 8-year-old son. Actually, I'm more scared than you. But for Singaporeans, for single mother, I decided to stand up today. It is challenging and difficult to actually groom a kid in Singapore. Firstly, as a single parent, I don't have two income. I don't have a husband. I work hard for myself. And if you're asking about a decrease in birth rate, I can tell honestly, it's not I don't want to give birth to more kids. It's because 政府冲我都不打喊了. Decrease in birth rate, meaning also increasing in aging population. As a parent, in order to earn more income, I have to work OT and return to work on Saturday to earn extra income. Why? I have to have saving for my kids' education, tuition fee, student care fee, and a better meal for him. I would like to emphasize on the education that our kids face today. Maths questions nowadays are super tough. If you are a parent here, I can see a lot of parents here. I'm sure you have very great pain on this. Firstly, education stress level is too high. It's all about the paper chase in Singapore. All about getting good marks. Aim high, cannot fail. And about recent NUS case, a father who actually had a 5-room flat. He sold away his 5-room flat for the daughter to actually get a university in Australia. This father actually is now staying with a 80-year-old parent in a 3-room flat. And he actually mentioned in his message that he's very frustrated. He's here in May 1st, Hong Lim Park, to show his frustration. Because seriously, parents cannot handle the stress and education, everything is actually difficult. So basically I want to say something is, we are taught to get 100 marks, but not taught to enjoy being educated and understanding things. So kids end up memorizing instead of understanding. All books and no play make an intelligent person dumb. How does a child have a happy childhood? I recall when I was a child, playing with marbles, 5 stone, making skipping rope out of rubber bands are simple joy. I would like to actually share something about a single mother called Sabriwati. She's 45 years old. She gave birth to a 3rd child alone in tears and in debt. Her husband worked out on her due to affair. Barely a month before the painful day, she was settled with her husband debt payment for their 5-room flat and 3 children to bring up. Currently, she stays at a 2-room rented flat. She said, I do not want to buy a flat. I need to keep my CPF for my child's education. She cooked daily to actually save money for her child. And she actually need to put aside $300 to clear her bills. Another case of a single mother. She actually gave birth to a child without ROM cert. Okay, meaning her husband actually walked out of her. She explained to me there was no baby bonus for her because she had got no marriage cert. She cannot rent a flat from HDB. She has to rent from open market. And I want to share with everybody, a rented 3-room flat costs $2,100. On March by all the center due to the new scheme that is released on April, causing the money fee from 101 to shoot up to 148 per month. I would like the government to actually spare a thought for single parent, because I feel that till now, they have not helped single parent much. We contribute to population growth. We and our kids need to eat, live, study. We are also humans. Our senior built Singapore. Now they face the problem of no CPF withdrawal for their retirement. If seniors do not get their CPF, how about for my generation, my age group? After CPF used for HDB and kids' education, we have got nothing left. For the 20s and 30s, we have got nothing left. Yeah. I would like to end my speech simple, because the next person is an important person. On 27 April Saturday, 6:19 p.m., I was standing outside Parliament House, facing Clarke Quay. What I get to see, Singapore important building, UOB, OCBC, Singtel, Paperland. My thoughts. MBS also, thank you, sir. My thoughts. I grew up in Singapore. I've never regret being a Singaporean. What do I see around me? Foreigners, tourists, their smiles are happier than mine. I ask myself why. When do I get back my happy smile in my own land? I love Singapore. I love Singaporean. I love my home. I want my Singapore back. 6.9 million makes me worry. Thank you very much. The next speaker will be Mr. Tan.
Thank you, Vivian.
Good evening, fellow Singaporeans and friends. I wish we could rejoice and celebrate Labor Day today, but alas, our labors have been rubbished and mocked by a government that only takes care of the elite and the rich, people like themselves. This comes out clearly in the recent white paper on population. The white paper is not concerned about the future welfare of ordinary Singaporeans. Instead, the white paper is all about the future of PAP. About how they can continue to be very rich and to stay in power. They will bring in 90,000 foreign workers every year to depress the wages of Singaporeans so that companies can make enormous profits and pay huge salaries and bonuses to CEOs and professionals. Ministers' salaries will also go up as they are benchmarked against the total pay of CEOs and professionals. So ministers will continue to draw million-dollar salaries even when the wages of ordinary Singaporeans go down. But when Singaporeans want to register their unhappiness, the PAP brings in new citizens to dilute our vote. $130,000 new citizens voted in the 2011 general election. Another 125,000 new citizens will be brought in to vote in 2016. That's about 12% of the total vote. I want to emphasize that we are not against the foreign workers in Singapore. You can't blame them for wanting to seek a better life and career. It is the government policy of continually importing foreign workers that we are against. We can understand why new citizens are grateful to the government. But gratitude is not servitude. It does not mean blind loyalty. You work hard to earn a living, but you will soon discover, like all citizens before you, that even then you have to struggle so hard just to feed your family and barely so. So do not vote PAP just out of gratitude. Because gratitude is about the past, not the future. Vote for the future, not the past. Be clear what the white paper is not about helping citizens, including new citizens. The white paper is a plot by the PAP to tighten its grip on Singaporeans with the help of new citizens. This is the real objective of the population white paper. Make no mistake about it. Have no illusion that PAP is looking after our interests. If they have the interests of Singaporeans at heart, they will do what other cities do in tackling the issues of an aging population and low total fertility rate. I visited Hong Kong and mainland China recently. They face the same population issues as Singapore, but solve them differently by tackling the root cause directly. I had discussion with experts who are professors at the University of Hong Kong. They told me Hong Kong's priority is to fix basic infrastructure first, particularly in housing and transport. At the same time, they seek economic growth outside Hong Kong, mainly southern China, so that business firms can grow without adding strain to public facilities in Hong Kong. Here in Singapore, the PAP does the exact opposite. They bring in more people, 90,000 foreign workers every year, before they have improved the basic facilities. So there will be more overcrowding, not less. How can this be in the interest of Singaporeans? CPM Teo Chin Hian visited Hong Kong last week, 1 month after my visit to the city. He brought along officials from the National Population and Talent Division to learn population planning from the Population Commission of Hong Kong.
Why are we paying them?
One commissioner, Mr. Paul Heap, told them, and I quote, "I shared how we might be obsessed with big numbers for GDP growth, but we need to think of what people want and the need to get their support," unquote. I hope PAP listened to what Mr. Yip said about the need to think of what people want. But don't be too hopeful. The PAP government only thinks of what they want for themselves.
Yeah.
Whether they perform in their job or not, they take their $1 million salaries first and leave you to pick up the crumbs. Have they listened to your cries of despair over falling wages and rising cost of living, and about the difficulties of bringing up a family? If they had listened earlier and acted upon your worries, Singapore today would not have the problem of low birth rates. Because the fundamental cause of low fertility is the people's lack of confidence in the future. This has been seen all over the world throughout history. Which young couple will not think twice about having a child when it costs $900,000 to raise a child from birth through childhood, school and university, including private tuition in their school years? Who would dare to have a child when they do not have enough savings for their own retirement? Singapore has the highest savings rate in the world, and yet 55% of Singapore CPF members do not have enough balances in their CPF account to pay the required minimum sum. Which Singaporean couple will be in the right frame of mind to bring up a family when they work the longest hours in the world and are the worst, most stressed and least emotional people? These are not just excuses for not having babies, but are real hard truths faced by ordinary Singaporeans. Will they disappear? Not under the PAP government, because these hard truths are the results of PAP's core policies. The only way to remove these hard truths that affect ordinary Singaporeans is to change the government. Are you ready for change? The PAP will scare you and tell you that the opposition has no experience and is not ready to form a government. The fact is that the opposition today is more ready than the PAP was in 1959. How many in the PAP then had any experience of working in government? Only one. The late Dr. Goh Keng Swee, who was Director of Social Welfare in the colonial government. Only one. Today, spread out in the opposition ranks, I can count at least 9 individuals who have had many years of experience working at senior levels in 6 government agencies, including finance, trade and industry, foreign affairs, national development URA, health, hospitals and defense. 6 government agencies, 9 individuals, against Dr. Goh Keng Swee, 1 in government. The PAP in 1959 had only 1 PhD, the late Dr. Toh Chin Chai, who was a lecturer in the university. But we in the opposition today have 7 PhDs. of whom 3 are associate professors, including one teaching in an overseas university. In addition, we have several doctors, lawyers, economists, ex-bankers, ex-fund managers, corporate executives, and entrepreneurs. Together, there are at least 25 to 30 of us with a wide range of expertise to run an effective, competent, and caring government. By the time of the next general election in 2015 or 2016, more will join us, like many of you here in the audience, who have the passion, courage, and desire to serve your fellow Singaporeans. Our team will be lean, definitely not as bloated as the PAP one, which has 18 ministers for 15 ministries, which means that 3 ministers are redundant. With titles like minister without portfolio, second minister here, second minister there, but no real responsibility. In the army, we call them GD officers. GD for general duty, who are on call to do anything that no one is available to do or want to do, like attending funerals or F1 races. What does this tell us about the confidence of the Prime Minister in this redundant minister's ability to head and run a ministry on his or her own? Are they just there as tokens? When the opposition forms the government, there will be no token ministers. Every minister will carry his or her own weight because they get in under their own steam and not under the coattails of some long-serving ministers. I don't know what to say. They will bring with them the most important quality in a political leader, the passion to serve all Singaporeans regardless of race, religion, language, or social class. Can we work together, coming from different parties, to form a coalition government? Yes, we can. Do not let PAP frighten you into believing that coalition governments are unstable and life will be chaotic. Nothing is further from the truth. Today, life goes on in 75 countries that are governed by coalition governments. 75 countries have coalition governments today. Finland has shown the way. Coalition governments have ruled Finland for nearly 100 years with their so-called rainbow coalition of 5 political parties, recently increased to 6. Finland, a nation of about 5.5 million people like Singapore, is a world leader in many fields. It has a high quality of life and is the 3rd most competitive nation in the world according to the latest Global Competitiveness Index. So when the PAP calls the opposition a rojak bunch, point them to the rainbow in Finland. Yeah. In fact, not only is our rojak as multicolored and beautiful as the rainbow, it is also delicious. So go for it, Singaporeans. Have your favorite national dish. Your life will taste much better under a rojak coalition than under the bitter fruits of a self-serving leadership. Yes! There is a saying, fortune favors the bold. In 1959, Singaporeans took the bold step of voting for a change of government and ushered in a higher standard of living for many years, up to a point. That point of stagnation was reached about 5 years ago, and more Singaporeans are now experiencing a decline in their standard of living. It is time to put a stop to this decline. Will you do so? Yes! We are the Lion City, brave and strong. The Singapore Lion roared in 2011. Will you roar even louder in 2016? Yeah! Will you be as brave and as strong as the 1959 generation to vote for change? Yeah! Will you vote out the PAP in 2016? Yeah! Yes, I heard your loud cheers. Thank you. There is hope for a better Singapore. Majulah Singapore! Stay behind, there's a message for you.